This is one of the most beautiful toys to come out of the Star Wars vintage era. A perfect representation to what we saw in The Return of the Jedi brought to us in a toy. But when this came out, it was doomed from the start. Why? And why do collectors consider this a grail today? Welcome to the journey. Now let's go. Now this is a big box, and inside is the 1985 Tatooine Skiff. And I still have to unbox it and see how it came. And for those of you who have been here since the beginning, first for the vintage Star Wars action figure run, and then for the playset run, thanks for being here on this journey. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button so you can go back and watch those series. And they were a lot of fun, and I did learn so much by going on those runs. And I always tell the history of these fantastic toys. So to start this one out, here is the history of the 1985 Tatooine Skiff. We first saw the Tatooine Skiff in 1983 for The Return of the Jedi during the Sarlacc pit scene. The initial designs for the skiff were produced by Ralph McQuarrie, as seen here in this early concept painting of the Sarlacc scene. And the models and production skiffs would be overseen by Joe Johnston over at ILM. And it's interesting that they called it a skiff because in literature, movies, and art, that name is what has been referenced to portray prisoners or doomed souls being carried away to their fate. That George Lucas loved his Roman and Greek mythology. And this skiff design from The Return of the Jedi would eventually pass to Kenner, who had the task to re-engineer this toy for the toy shelves. 1985 was a hard year for the Star Wars toys. Not only did George Lucas announce at that time that there would be no other Star Wars movies made, but there were a ton of other toys that had cartoons and comics coming out week after week, which made kids want those toys instead of Star Wars toys. Plus, some kids that were once asking for those Star Wars toys at birthdays or the holiday seasons were outgrowing toys altogether and either asking for BMX bikes, skateboards, which were growing in popularity, or the ever-growing video game market. All of those factors made Star Wars decline in sales. So when the Star Wars Power of the Force line came out in 1985, it wasn't backed with a new movie like other toy releases did. Although it offered fantastic toys, as mentioned earlier, interest in Star Wars was winding down. And this was the case for the Tatooine Skiff, made for the Power of the Force line in 1985. The Tatooine Skiff has been celebrated in the Star Wars collecting community as one of the best toys to come out of the vintage toy era. And much like the vehicles and playsets from Return of the Jedi, the toy designers over at Kenner were getting very good at engineering toys that looked great, were durable, and had great play features, and ones that could hit certain price points and fit on toy shelves. Okay, so now for the unboxing. And to see the full unboxing video, go to my Patreon page and become a member. The link is in the description, or if you're a part of the YouTube channel membership here, you can watch it there as well. And becoming a member supports my channel, and it actually allows me to make these videos week after week. So thank you to all my members who support my channel. And now to see how this came. And I got this from a very trusted seller named James C. at the Vintage Alliance on Facebook. And if you want high-end vintage items, you want to get them from trusted sellers, mostly because they know what they're selling and they know what a fair market price should be in today's market and for the condition that they're selling it in. And a lot of the times you may see sellers that are uneducated about what they're selling and the price is way too high for the condition that they want the item to sell for. And sadly, some people will buy at those prices because they haven't done their research. And I did a video about how to fairly price for buying or selling, and you can see that video by clicking a link, either up there in the corner or down there in the description. And I suggest watching that, especially if you're gonna start going after high-end vintage items. So by going out there and seeing what's being sold on the Facebook groups, eBay, auction sites like Hakes, and by going to toy shows and toy shops, you get a fair idea of the prices in today's market, especially at the condition that you want to buy it for. And a big reason to buy from sellers who know what they're doing, the packaging and how you get it. If you are going to be spending a lot of money to get these items, you want sellers who package your items so that they arrive in good shape and are unharmed. And trust me, I've had items come from very, very nice people, but the packaging was subpar. Like when I got the entire set of Burger King glasses, but the glasses were packaged so close together that most of them came, well, broken. And this vehicle came packaged great. There it is. It's actually a lot smaller than I thought it was gonna be. So let's go through and see what originally came with the Tatooine Skiff. If you were to have gotten the Skiff in 1985, it would have come in this box. And the one that we got is in immaculate condition. The proof of purchase is still there, and often these days, you see that cut out and missing. The main art is a great illustration showing the famous scene where Luke starts the battle, and there is a scene against a yellow backdrop shot by none other than Kim Simmons, followed by 6 pictures showcasing the features of the Skiff. Opening the box, we can see the main vehicles inside the cardboard insert. The cardboard insert these days is extremely rare to find, and this was the first thing to end up in the garbage bins, and on its own goes for extremely high dollar amounts. It also comes with the sticker label sheet. The one I have is bent, so I'm gonna have to work on straightening it out and being careful not to separate the stickers from the sheet. 2 rudders would have come inside a sealed plastic baggie. The baggie I have isn't sealed, but at least I have the baggie. It also came with an instruction sheet. And another hard to find item these days is the planetary map, in which Kenner made 3 different versions. The one I have is the Tatooine version, but other ones were about Endor and the Death Stars. Now, the instructions go through how to insert the rails and the gangplanks, but to my knowledge, you only had to attach the rudders as everything else was already assembled. And the instructions also give a warning not to rest the skiff on surfaces with the landing gear retracted, or you're gonna break the rudders and put too much pressure on them. And this is already a fragile piece, so I would be sure to follow that warning. To move the rudders, there are levers at the bottom rear of the skiff that you can move to the left and right. The trap door can be activated by lowering the left rail. Hitting the switch on the deck, a platform located at the right side of the deck will activate, launching a poor figure from the skiff. The gangplank lever can be pulled back, allowing you to drop figures when the plank is fully extended. The landing pod lever will retract or detract the landing gear. There is also a storage area on the main console in the middle of the deck to house weapons and accessories. With all these interactive parts, it's what makes the Skiff a glorious vehicle. But it's also what makes this hard to collect, as these pieces are often found broken or missing, and they are fragile and easily broken even with the lightest of play or if you drop them during play. But nonetheless, this is a truly amazing toy to collect, and to some is considered a grail, and I can see why. With its rarity, design, and fragility, it's a must-have in any collection for sure. When Kenner was bought by Hasbro in the early 90s, they did reuse the tooling of the 1985 Skiff to make another version in 2000, and then in 2019, for the vintage collection, a completely new and beautiful design was released, and this has become a collector favorite. But if you are a true collector and toy fan, you will definitely have the original 1985 version in your collection, sitting right next to the new ones. But to hold it in my hands, finally, and just being able to touch such, I don't know, an amazing grail, and to say that this is now in my collection, it's something really special. And now for the big question. How much did I get mine for? Well, the price wasn't cheap. So after seeing the condition that it was posted for, and again, I got this on a Facebook group, for what I researched and the prices that I was seeing out in the market, this was actually a great deal, and I got this for $1,800. And finally getting to hold this piece in my hands, knowing that it's thousands of collectors' grail, That does make it special for me to even have this in my collection right now, especially one that's in such pristine condition. And you know how much I appreciate the history of these toys, and knowing that this was at the end of the Star Wars line and that they didn't sell well, it's actually fantastic to find it in this condition. And if I had a chance to own this when I was a kid, I would have put it right next to my Jabba the Hutt action playset. And I think it's honestly a work of art. And I love how Kenner designed a toy that was so screen accurate, but had a ton of play features. And I'm glad that it came with an unused sticker sheet, but I'm also glad that it came with all the inserts, especially the cardboard insert, which is so hard to find. But I'm glad that I'm able to set it up, play with it, and just have a visceral experience with this toy. So let's check this off our list. The first one in our vehicles run, and I think we started out with a bang. The Tatooine Skiff, made from Kenner in 1985, that we got for $1,800 from the Vintage Alliance on Facebook. So thank you, James C., for selling me such a great item. And let me know what you think of the price and if you would have paid for that in this condition in today's market. Let me know down there in the comments. And thank you for watching all the way through. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, as I talk about vintage toys and their history week after week. So come back for next week's episode as we unbox the second toy in my vintage vehicle run. And what's it gonna be? Well, you'll have to see next week. To check that video out and others, please click the videos on your screen now. And as always, my friends, thank you, and I will see you next time.